What is the story structure of a short film?
Because short films can do anything or say anything, and they should be unexpected, and you can do your ending at the beginning and your beginning at the end, there is no structure. But I do think simplicity helps a lot. I don't think you should have 100 different characters with 100 different plots going on and A-B lines. It's not like screenwriting. That's when people do short film screenwriting, I'm always kind of like, what could you be talking about? Because there aren't the same kind of rules as there are for features. It really depends on what story you want to tell. And then I just think it's a lot about simplification and really bringing it down to a simple idea. And one thing I love about short films, because I'm known for short films, right? People will always say to me, oh, I saw this really great short film. And then they'll tell me the short film that they saw. So I haven't visually seen it, but I've heard someone tell me to, and I'll be like, that sounds like a great short film. And I kind of feel like I've seen it because they were able to tell me the whole plot of what it was. So, your short film should work in that way that people can tell you what it is. But a lot of them are like just visual. One of my favorite kinds of short films are dialogue-free short films, where there's absolutely no dialogue, but it is all told, it's not like an old-fashioned pushing piano up the hill and having it fall down Laurel and Hardy kind of thing. But just you can tell a story with visuals, the actual old-fashioned visual filmmaking way, and it's great. And so many, and those, I'll also say the short films with no dialogue translate very well for different countries. People love films with no dialogue because it's universal. It's like you're going to be a universal story of something that is told through cinema. It's a very cinematic way of telling a story. But anyway, so yeah, nothing, you can do anything you want to do. And I could try to talk you out of don't do traditional structure, but you can do traditional structure if that's what your story needs and is to be told. Endings are really important in short films. Beginnings are really important in short films, and middles are very important in short films. I do think every scene in your short film should also, you got to look at it and say beginning and ending, are we lingering too long? Can we get out and do that before you shoot it? Because, again, every moment counts, and if you're going to have a longer shoot, if you have a bunch of stuff in it that later you're going to cut out in editing. Evaluate every scene. Look at does it start as late as it can? Does it end as early as it possibly can? And then do you really need it? What is the scene actually about, and have we already done that? I hate short films where it just takes forever to get to the storyline, or they have a big opening credits sequence of somebody driving in a car with beautiful scenery going on, and the credits say, costumes by and DP by, and it's like, no, for feature films, contractually, you have to do that. They have to have full screen credits. For short film, there's no thing like that. We have no opening credit sequence. People don't want to sit through that. We don't want to see that. Start right away with what your story is. And, everything should be what needs to be. Nothing superfluous, nothing that is just there because it entertains you. You can have a super chatty film too, but just make sure everything that's in there and chatty needs to be in there. So I say probably the biggest thing about the structure is just make sure it starts good, make sure it ends good, make sure everything in there needs to be in there, has to be in there, and as tight as possible, and that you're happy with it.
It sounds like you said earlier, if someone's walking to go somewhere, have them be already there.
Exactly.
And then for the ending, don't have it abrupt, have some type of a payoff.
Sometimes an abrupt ending is fine too, but have it, work in some way.
Oh, okay.
The other thing I should say too is another huge pet peeve is too long of credits. Because on the festival world, your short film will quite often be put in a program of short films. So the audience watches one short film, has to sit through 2 minutes of credits, and then now they're ready to see the other short film. And running time really counts for short films. So if your film is like a 7-minute short film, but 2 minutes of that are credits, no. Fast for those credits, shove them up all on the screen. Sometimes people Kickstarter or one of those kind of things, and they promise credits on the screen. Make them almost unreadable and have them go there. If you're putting your film online, you can have long credits at the end because nobody's sticking around for that either. As soon as they see the film is over, they just stop watching it. In features, nobody wants to see credits. Nobody wants to see credits, but don't have long credits on your film and have that be part of your running time that hamper you for, because again, running time counts.
Sure. I mean, theoretically, you could always have a website that mentions the backers, but I realize it's not the same as being in the credits. But
there isn't necessarily one version of your film. Maybe you have the festival version of your film that doesn't have those long credits in it, and then you have the web version that does have all those long credits in it. So, there are ways to deal with it in that way too.
How many different story structures are there for short films?
Short films can be anything, so there could be as many different story structures as you want it to be. But I don't think there's like an A plot and a B plot and a C plot like you would have in like a TV show or something like that. You really just want to have the A plot. There might be a little teeny bit of a runner, but doubtful in that way. That's the thing about short films. It's not the same. We don't have like, there's going to be a gangster film, so these are the rules for a gangster film. This is my personal opinion. Some people might feel that there should be more structure in that way, but I say anything goes. Whatever you want to do, do.
Can a short film be a series of images without a protagonist and no structure?
So how do you define what a short film is? And there's experimental shorts that are very famous and are very interesting to watch, but there's no storyline whatsoever. It's just images that are happening, and that's fine. Again, who's to define what a short film is? And if you say your film is experimental and that's what you want to do with it, then go for it if that's what your vision is. Sometimes people love that because it's like, okay, we're going to program this one film that is like a Tarantino wannabe kind of film, and we're going to program this one short film that's like a horror film, and then we need to do something different. We can't do another horror film or another coming of age, so let's put in the weird, artsy thing that just delights us. There's also like dance films where people just film a dance performance, or music videos. There's a lot of music videos that people consider a short film, or who's to say if it's just a music video or is it cinematic enough to make? Who decides these things? There's no short film board that says you are a short, you are a music video, you are a commercial, you are just Drek. I have no idea what you are. You as the filmmaker get to define what it is. So if you're not a narrative storyteller and you just want to make these beautiful things, then that's fabulous. Now that's not the person that's going to be hired to direct the next Star Wars film. And so if that's your goal, you should make something that makes you more obviously the person who's going to direct the next Star Wars film. But that maybe that shows you have such a unique artistic point of view, and people think this person might be really interesting to make a different kind of Spider-Man film or something like that. They have such a unique eye and thinking, and if that's who you are, then be who you are in a short film format. Just do it.
So something that doesn't really have much of a storyline, that might be more geared toward, let's say, a contemporary art museum.
There are museum pieces, but I have also seen museum pieces play in film festivals. So, an example of a museum piece, the museum decides, is this something that is worthy of being in our halls? Now, they also may be completely wrong, too. And they're like, it just seems like a bunch of drips on canvas. Who's this Jackson Pollock after all? Who's to say who's right or wrong? And because short filmmakers, on the front lines of doing something unique and different, people might not understand their film right away. And then in 5 years' time, you look back and you're like, oh, look at this crazy thing Christopher Nolan is doing. 5 years ago, I saw a short film that just did that exactly. We sometimes are too ahead of the curve and are doing really special and unique stuff that is not what people are used to. And that's great too. We don't want to see the same old, same old. We want to see something really different and unique.
Right, just to go back and watch Cindy Sherman, like old videos online from the 90s.
Sherman.
Yeah, and it's like, wow, this was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
This is so cool.
Isn't that so neat? And so like short films too, they don't really age that much. Really terrific short films. I mock the Lauren Hardy short films, the one-reelers, but people still go back and look at those and love those and think they're fabulous. If you go back and watch the Oscar winners for animation from years ago, whoa, these things are amazing and still seem really special and unique nowadays. And same thing for live action. There's some live action short films that just blow you away. It's also really fun to go back and see like the short films of filmmakers like Christopher Nolan or whatever, and go back and see his short film and you say, oh, so George Lucas, when he was at USC, did a lot of short films. And some of them are incredibly boring. But still you see what he was interested in, and there was all these sound things. You could tell he was very interested in sound. And we can see them now because USC owns those films and shows those films. Ah. But so it's super interesting to see famous filmmakers now, what they were doing in short films. And you can see, I see their voice in it. And those are special filmmakers, obviously. But yeah, that's why it's really worthwhile going back and seeing their short films.